Well, this is Baruch Fleischman here, and we are continuing on in Parshas Vayera. This is the 5th day of the week of Parshas Vayera, and we're on page Reish Lamed Gimel. We're at the bottom of the page, and let me push this down. We have a little blurb for an introduction here. So it says like this: "A Pirush Pasuk Hamuv L'Chalon." There's a pasuk coming up. Is the pasuk says Hamaskilim Yaskiru Zohar Harakia. Let them shine; they radiate like the radiance of the heavens. So he says, Elu HaMaskilim. What makes them Maskilim? Because they learn Barazi Torah. These people, Ya'ira Ka'or Gilgalgali Harakia, like the orbs of the heavens, or the orbits of the heavens, or the planets of the heavens, they're going to shine just like them, stars at night. Umatzadiki, another part, Umatzadiki Harabim, and from those people who really make the generation more righteous, they're like the stars. They shine like stars forever. So he said, he means the people that fortify the people, that fortify the nation. Or let them shine like the light of the stars. Shemeirim Yosim Rakia, that shine more than the heaven itself. And all of them, all of these wonderful people, will shine forever, without any interruption. Now let's turn the page in the Zohar, and let's actually listen to the words of the Zohar. So, Kasiv Hamaskilim Yaskira Kazor Rakia, that phrase that we've seen already. Umatzdikim Arabakokve La'olam Bo'ed, and the people who fortify the generations. So now the Zohar says Maskilim Yaskira. Let's take that phrase. The Maskilim are shining. Man idem maskilim. So tell me, who are these maskilim? So he says, Ela dohu hahu chacham de yistachel begarme melin. What does that mean? Elo zeku chacham. This is talking about a person who knows a lot of Torah. Shemistakel and misbainin. He looks, he understands ba'atzmo, within himself. The varam elyonim, things that are beyond physicality. Behin the varam amukim, things that are deep. Kol kach ad. So there are things that are so, let me read them out and get that. A person can have an experience, we see that Rabbi Memran's talking about this all the time, that he is so high that it's beyond words. It's like the story of a man that found the Ari sleeping in the base of Medrash while he was still living in Mitzrayim. And he came over to him, and he saw that he was moving his lips while his eyes were closed. So he put his ear down next to the Ari as he was speaking, and wanted to listen. And the Ari woke up, and he said, "Oh, Rabbi, I'm sorry." He said, "No, it's okay." He said, "But I really just wanted to hear what it was you were saying." He said, "My friend, if it would take 60 some odd years for me to explain to you what I saw in my mind, because it could be a depth that you could reach with your thoughts, as what Rabbi Memran has pointed out in a few other places, which I really like this Torah, that the vibrations of the level, the movement within thought itself is faster than the speed of light. So it's possible that somebody could really see something, but how do you slow it down enough to be able to get into words? That's a big problem. And so anyway, that's what's going on. Elo hasod sasam besichlam, but rather the secret that they've seen is closed up in their minds. Misanga b'chasichla, and they have tremendous celebration with the thought. But it's not something that would be easy for them to say. Let's go on. The Elun Ikrin Maskilin. These are the people we understand Maskilin. They understand beyond the level of speech. Ve'elu b'nikrai Maskilin. Shehem Lamala B'Keser, they're up above house of the higher in Keser. She'archam Lamala, because where they are, relatively speaking, these Maskilim are higher than Chochmah, that is the Moach of Chochmah. She'b'Chochmah, and he says the Chochmah of Chochmah, Minagunim, Shebabina. Let me read the phrase again because it didn't come out so good. These people who are maskilim, who learn so, he says they're mala maha chachma shebechachma, they're higher than the chachma and chachma. Chachma, of course, as you understand, it's the best that we can understand of the Ein Sof is through Chachma. Chachma's 10 spheres, one of the spheres is Chachma. So you're higher than the Chachma of Chachma. So that is if you're learning small. So, and he says it's also higher than Medivonim Shebabina, people that understand. This is a glimpse of a reality that cannot be put into words. Let's go on and let's see a little bit more. So the Zohar says, Yazhira Zohar Akia, let it shine like the Zohar the Akia, which is the radiance of the heavens. Man Zohar Akia. So tell me, who is the Zohar Akia? So he said, who's Zohar the Moshe the Kaima B'Emtzei. So this is really calling the radiance and coming from Moshe, or that Moshe within that Moshe is surrounded by. Zehu HaTiferes, the Zer Anpin. This is the level Tiferes Anpin. Now we learned yesterday, I think in the last time we did one of these shiurim, that the highest that the Nevi'im can come to would be the bottom of Malchus. Here Moshe Rabbeinu was able to make his way into the radiance that comes from a much higher place. So he said, let's go on. From the Tiferes of Zer Anpin, not Malchus. Because Moshe stands in the middle line, Shuhu Nikra Rakia, which is called a heaven. The Vish called a Zayin Tachtonos, Nikras Rakia. So he says, let's look at Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin is basically 6 spheres plus a 7th. So there, Zer Anpin is Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchus. Each one of those is called a Rakia. So if you ever heard the phrase 7 heavens, you know he's talking about the Chagat Nehim of Zer Anpin. So he said, Nikra Rakia Shal Moshe. So it's called the heaven of Moshe, the Fisha Sham Shorish Nishmas Moshe, because that's the root of where the Neshama of Moshe comes from. Bahai Zohar Sasim below his Galia, and this Zohar, well, it's closed up, it's not revealed. So the Zohar that comes from that heaven, Shuhu Or Hadas, which is the light of Das, it's closed up, it's not revealed even to Moshe Rabbeinu. That was the last year that we had. The last year is that the Shar Nevi'im are not able to get to the level of Zer Anpin. Min Akain Ne'elmo Oros Hadas the Moshe Rabbeinu. So just as Das is up above Tiferes, and Tiferes is up above Malchus, and the Nevi'im normale are able to reach their way up into the bottom of Malchus. Moshe Rabbeinu is able to make it to Tiferes, but he's not able to make it up into the lights of Das. Now let's see a little bit more. Kinkamosha Ne'elmo Oros HaTiferes the Zer Anpin Mishar HaNevi'im. So just the same way as if the light of Zer Anpin is hidden from all the rest of the prophets. Kain Ne'elmo Oros HaDas Moshe Rabbeinu. So you have the same thing, that the Oros HaDas were hidden from Moshe Rabbeinu. V'kain Balon Alchu Rikia the Hischazim Bei Gavonim. Now what is this? He says V'chadas. Where is Das? Omedis and Meira ala Rakia Shuha Tiferes, so it's up above Tiferes and it shines into the Tiferes. Shabo Nirim Hagavonim al Yedes Mishpatim Bevak Shabo. So as these colors that are coming from Das start to move and they're filtered into Zer Anpin through his 6 spheros, Ve'inin Gavonim Afal Gav the Mischazian Bay. So now you can see the colors within Moshe, and we said that Moshe is not able to really penetrate Das. They don't shine though in the same way as those lights that are actually inside of Das shall Das hastumim, because Das, the colors in Das are closed. Now remember that when the Zohar talks about colors, he's not talking about the colors of our rainbow. He's talking about the colors of the rainbow of the Olam Atzilus. Those colors are white, which is Chesed, red, which is Gevurah, and green, which is Tiferes. Okay, those are the colors. Whatever is the nature or the root of those colors, and the Zohar works on colors a little bit, and it's always about the 3 lines. So he said, but when he uses the word color, He means, I think he means that before there were three lines, and let's understand the three lines are after Das, or I'm not sure exactly where Das is. Das moves around a little bit, but if it's a lower Das, at any rate, Das precedes the three lines. So that means that the colors existed before they generated themselves into something more physical called the lines. Now let's go on a little bit more. Lo zahre kazara de'inan gabonim stimin, einun meirim kamo hazor shal osem agabonim shal ladas astumim. They don't shine the same way. Yehem meirim mazkirim ma'od, because they're tremendously powerful lights. V'kocha meshuvach ma'or ha'nigla shebetiferes. Their light can be praised if you're standing, so as if it was possible to say that you were standing in Tiferes. You could look as if possible inside or up above, the way you like to think about it. You would be able to see something and praise it, but not really see it. Let's see what he's going to say. He's a Kamala Zohar shal osem agavonim shal hadas hastumim. Ki Haim meirim mazkirim ma'od, they're shining tremendously powerful, because whatever light that exists in Tiferes, and we're talking about, once again, I think, the lights of the three lines. This is that when we're speaking about those lights, there are three lines, and the lights are really reflected in it. The lines are reflected. L'kach meshaveach hapasuk as a maskilim. So therefore, understanding that Moshe Rabbeinu was never able to reach the level of Das itself. So therefore, this praise that they're giving to the maskilim, ba'oz ha'or ha'maskir shal hadas, they're saying that the maskilim actually can reach the light that we mentioned here of Das. Im chavayosach u'babilti musag, even though it's not something you could really ever appreciate, because it's, to me, the concept of musag, or reaching something, is a tzimtzum. Because the light, when it's just by itself, is big and powerful. Okay, so let's go on and let's see what else. Ki kamo shehem ma'askilim ba'or haniflo bilti musag b'hasagas adiba kanizka. It's the same metaphor he wants to say. That you could have something that you could never really explain to anybody else because you saw it in such a clear, high way, but the way down to the words, very distant. So he says that the metaphor is that just in the same way this light secretly shines within these people because they can't talk about it. He says, Cain Roy, so it should be fit. That in the future, in the world beyond this world, that it should shine for you, Zohar HaNiflo, Zer B'Ra'ayon, V'Diber Mida Keneged Mida, that you'll actually be able to see it and hear it as it comes along later. That's what the Maskilim actually do get that, but they can't explain it. So the Zohar says like this. Let's see a little bit more. We can learn a little bit more. It says, Talchazi, come and see. Arba Rabin Naharden Elon. Bavarei Yesh Arba Oros Shehem So Dalit Osius Yud K Vav K. Now he's going back into the concept of light again, of this word Oros. There are 4 different Oros that come out of each one of the Yud K Vav K, which is manifest in Zeranpin. Shemehem, so he says that from them, Meirim Dalad Minihon Huggles Elatachtonin, there are 4 different managements or paths of management, something like that, or ways that go down to the lower world. Tlas Menaichu Stimin. 3 of these different levels, the letters are closed. Gimel Mechem Shehem Osius Yaakov, that's how I pronounce it, Yaakov. Hem Stumim Mahasagas Ayin Kol Navi. They're closed. They're not approachable by any prophet. V'had is Gali, but there's one that is revealed. V'achas mehem shuhu he achrona shall he niglas. But the last one, imagine that you had the Yud K Vav K in a stream going from the top to the bottom. But then you came and you put a paper or blackened out the first 3 letters. You couldn't see them anymore. So the position of the Hey knows about them, but on the other hand, the Hey is revealed. That's the Hey Achrona. Niglish, she's revealed. Mefarish as P'ulas Gimel Ma'oros Elo V'Amar. So now let's talk about, what about the three types of light that we can't see? Rishon, Nahara de Nahir. This is the light that shines. Hu or Yud de Chavaya. Hu ha-Chachma, that is the first letter is Chachma. Ha-Chachma, v'ha-Chesed ha-Mispashtin Lamata, lahanhig es olam v'lahashpia bo tomid. Now, the words that he said is that the Yud, he says, is Chachma, but it's really the origin of Chesed as well, and also Netzach of that whole line. And then the Mispashtin, the Mata, that now spread downwards, Lahan Higas Olam, V'lahashpia Bo Tamid, to really run the world through this, and to continuously be sending them Shafa. Because of the rove, and I got a little block here, okay, let me get it out of the way. Because of the tremendous amount of chesed, of chesadim that are in the chesed, poshet yada b'noisen. In other words, that's the nature of chesed to begin with. It extends out its hand and it gives. Sechad number beis, which is going to be the letter K, the first K. So beis nahara de Zahara, the Zahara, right? Or Hey is called Rishona. That's the first Hey. Behind the shuhu habina v'hagavura mispashetis lamata. So it's bina. Comes out of bina is going to be gavura, and it's going to spread down too. Bina nahara bezehira the shemaya bedachiv. So he says, what does this mean? 1 second. Okay, let's go back to this phrase again. Be'inan nahoran bezehira the shemaya bedachiv. He said, "V'heim me'iros gezora shemayna." We're talking about bina, which is the left side, the side of correction, which is also known as the side of din. Gezora kia letohar, because it's so pure. Let's see what he means to say. Ritzon alom b'shagam sheyesh b'or zeh shel gevura ribui bechinos. It has many different aspects to it. Al tachsho shemifnei kach. Don't think like just because of this. That automatically, that means that the enemy of Kedusha is going to grab a hold of them. Elohu tahor min hachitzayim, but it's actually completely pure for the chitzanim. K'zorach hashemayim l'tohar, because of just like the radiance of the heaven, because it is so pure. Number 3, which has been the final letter Vav, not the final letter, but the letter Vav. Gimel Naharid is Gavad of the Natil Kol Naharid. The Vav is what? The Vav the Vahayu who begavan argument. Argument is purple. Shuhu so the Teferis, which is the secret of Teferis. Hakolu Kol Oras Havak, which in Teferis has all the colors in it, meaning that it's a mixture of many different ones. Number Daled is Nahora de L'Rabanahir, or Hey Achrona. Let's talk about the Hey Achrona. He says that light, Sheba Malchus, it's in the Malchus. Shuhu or She'enim Meir Lefisha. It's a light that doesn't ever shine at all. But she does have a period or a time, which is in a yichud with Zer Anpin, because Malchus, she has nothing of her own. She has only what becomes to her by her yichud with Zer Anpin. And when she has a yichud with Zer Anpin, she looks like Zer Anpin. She shines just like he does. So it says like v'or zeh. So it says in regards to this light that we're talking about. So this fourth line, this is what he says. Let's look at the words again. If you look at Malchus, Istakel, he says, Istakel the Gabe Elin, but not alone. She looks at what is up above her, which is the white line, the red line, and the green line, and she takes them all in. Is Achzer is Chazian Inan the Horech Bebe, Ka'asher Shisach of the Kaber Hoshimsha. Menira Elo Hagimel Oris, now the Oris are now shining into Malchus. He said, they shine into Malchus. She shines into her the lights of Chesed, Gevurah, and Teferis. They go into Malchus, Kamo Ashashis Keneged Hashemesh. So let me go back to where I was here before, and it's a v'yizchazian inin l'chornich b'beikab ka'ashashish l'kabel l'shemesh. Ashashish, here I had to take a minute to look up this word because it's not common, but he's going to explain it now. He says, now the lights that are shining, and originally started off talking is that these lights are in Das. Now he'll explain a metaphor to try to understand this, because now it's manifest in Zeranpin as the right line, left line, middle line. And these lines fall into Malchus. So he said, the Malchus, now they're able to be seen in Malchus. How do they see? It's like a reflection, keneged the shemesh, like you put a mirror opposite the sun. So he says, what is an ashashis? It's a metal board, hamavrek hashemesh, which causes the sun to reflect the light of the sun. So he said, v'hashemesh nira bo ka'ayin mara, and you could see it as the sun is shining on it, as if it was a vision of it. Kain nira b'malchus shehu soda. Shosh is the same thing about malchus. La'orah shel chagat dezer anpan and nikra shemesh. So this, which is called shemesh, and I want to stop again because I didn't like that definition I got of a shashis, so give me a second, I'll look at it again. Okay, so I looked at another place in the Eastern Aramaic and the Babylonian Aramaic type dictionary that I have, and it gave the idea that it was like a metal bar. Here he says it's a metal plate. And his idea is that not like it's a mirror. I call it a mirror. I didn't really understand. But it seems to be some kind of a metal that will reflect the sun. And you could see a vision of the sun from the metal. That's what he wants, but it's second hand. It's not the sun. So here we are on this phrase right here. Let me get my pencil. And it says, Ve'ilan plus the Amaran steaming. So these three that we said that they're closed up and unreachable, that is the Yud, K, and the Vav. Ve'ilach Gimel Ora Shel Yaakov. Shalmarna that we talked about. Heim Stumim Bebekoma Bechagat. They're closed up in their place on the three lines. V'kaimen Al Hai. The Isgalia, and they're really standing next to that one which is revealed. In other words, of Omdim and Meirin, the Malchus, she Haniglis. And the three of them are above Malchus. Imagine that above your head are three lights that you cannot see that are shining on you all the time. But once they get into you and you makabel them, Ritzona Lomar, so here we are in Ritzona Lomar, Ritzona Kashach Malchus, Miss Kashetes b'maisim atayvim, when Malchus is receiving from down below all the brachos and the mitzvahs that the Jewish people do down below, she becomes adorned. She becomes adorned with great jewelry and all different kinds of ornaments. And he says, Miskashetes b'maisim tov, she's adorned with good deeds. The good deeds of who? Of the Shalatachtain. And they go up those good deeds. Whenever we do something good, it goes up and adorns Malchus. Vihi ma'ala as a man, she takes up that mayim nukvin, all those good deeds, and she brings them from her position, which is below Chesed Gevurah and Tiferes of Zeranpin. She brings it to Zeranpin. Oz hemash b'im ba, then they turn around, and all of that which she brought to them is brought back to her in the form of a bracha. Mashbiyim ba shefa ora, the shefa of that light, the light that we can't see, but it's there and it's a bracha anyway. Ena. The sod zechabeku hagubanim sheba'ayin. The real secret is about the colors of the eye, because of the Mefarish Va'azel, as he's going to explain as we go farther. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kol, 5th day of the week of Parshat Vayera. This is Parshat Vahod.